This is my AV rack, as I call it, my stereo component rack. It's a little hard to see because everything's black. You can tell it's 3 components. Oh, except there's also a Wii stuck off to the side. And there's that HDMI switcher, because nobody gives us enough of those. But the topmost one is a brand new DVD player, because the other one broke. And out here is the remote control, which we'll talk about in a little while. Now, the player's pretty much just a black rectangle. It's got some nice features, like the buttons are actually on the top of a surface, so you press down to make them work. But that's kind of hard to tell here. And anyway, we're mostly going to talk about the interfaces. So, I'm going to look at the TV instead. The interface is much, much, much better than they used to be. Just a year ago, when you were looking at Sony products, they were incredibly clunky with jagged typography and everything. These scroll nicely, there's pretty little icons, there's some other nice effects here and there. Most of it's a pretty straight scroll and select like you'd expect for things. Sadly, pressing right from a setting here doesn't do anything. It jumps you out of the menus, as a lot of these AV devices are. You actually have to explicitly select a setting, and then explicitly select a setting again, and then you can press up and down to change stuff. Lots and lots of convoluted setup stuff, and a lot of dumbness, like network update. Let's go ahead and check for a network update. Oh, we're already updated. You didn't get to see the setup process originally, but it was very much like this, where anytime I tried to do anything, it said you need to do a network update, and they wouldn't tell you how to. A few things are pretty nicely done. This is not, we're not using this for the Hulu example, we're just using it because there are some slightly different interfaces that have some nice little patterns to them. There are also ones that aren't so great. For example, especially when there's 2 buttons, it can be hard to tell which one is highlighted. This is a rather neat little widget where when you select down to the next one, the actual highlight literally moves. It doesn't jump, it moves. So that's kind of cute. But mostly, I want to talk about Convergence today, which is the amazing number of items that are available in, say, the video list here. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. Many of these are absolutely stupid. That's an ad for a movie, which appears to be an application, which I would like to add. And there is an options menu around here somewhere on the remote control. There, options. It does nothing. You can't. There, you can add to favorites, but you can't remove from it. Oh, and this is probably a good time to point out favorites. There's no. If you look around the menu here, there's no favorites. So we have this huge list of, say, video things, which we can't reorder, can't delete things from, and add to favorites. Where's the favorites? Well, it turns out there is a favorites button on the remote. That's it. There are other problems with the remote, which I might talk about, which we'll talk about when we get to key entry. But let's get to good things instead. So one is that, although it doesn't have a browser, it does have access to a bunch of neat services like YouTube, which surprised me. I already went through the setup, but it was pretty easy. So this is actually my account. I can log off and log out and log to somebody else. If I go to my account, I have ridiculous things like it actually pulls up my videos. My terribly boring videos and navigation, which you don't care about, though this one will be there also. All the information you'd expect from the YouTube page. Quite sensible, has the information about it. You can play it directly on the screen. You can also look at the basic categories up in the YouTube area. What's the most popular thing today? I don't know, let's find out. And there they are. For example, a product I don't have. It connects, it loads, eventually it plays in the little window.
So, I got my Kinect. Here's the box. And I decided all the cool stuff that others have been doing with it, and the fact that now it's more or less...
There, we can pause it, thank God. But you can see even that it's got pretty much the normal controls for YouTube. Now, why you pressing down makes it smaller, I don't know why you want to zoom out, but it does that kind of stuff too. It even has, much to my excitement, a search. So, let's do a new search for, I don't know, because almost who cares? What is this? I've shown this to a couple people, including other interaction designers, who are just baffled by it. Well, it does make some sense. It's basically a 10 keypad. It's giving you little hints about the fact that you press 4, or let's say we're on a 5 key, that first you press the J, then you get K, then you get L, then you get 5, like you'd expect. And a couple problems with this. One is that the remote that comes with it does not have those letters on the keypad. So you end up having to actually scroll through it to pick letters, because you can't really map 5 press 3 times is L unless you're actually looking at the L on the screen. This is not a problem because for various reasons I have a Smarty Pants remote, and it does have a nice normal keypad with the letters on it. The next problem, also solved by my other remote, is if you look down here, you'll notice backspace and enter. Well, that seems reasonable. Enter is submit your search. It should be called submit or search, but oh well, it's called enter. It's green, you'll figure it out, I say. Backspace is to the left, it's red, it's okay, we can live with that. Except for the problem, of course, where they've gone with their strange convention of yellow, blue, red, green, and that's audio, that's subtitle. They're not mapped to the right place, and red and green are way over here, kind of nowhere near the keyboard, so actually we're deleting text or submitting your search is a little bit cumbersome. Again, I solved this by programming my remote to simply have that be backspace and that be enter, and then I have no problems with this. Regardless, let's say we want to do a search for, what we're playing with. And we'll do it the cumbersome way by actually scrolling the things. Whoops, that didn't work. See how hard it is to do? S3. Space. There appears to be no next, by the way, so that a lot of the typical T9 interaction type things don't really work very well because you can't tell it when you're done lettering a letter and go to the next one. You have to kind of wait for things to happen. And there. V. Now we press enter, and it searches. And this does go back to working just fine. And you notice it's pretty quick. No problems there at all. But, to point out my inconsistency problems, the main reason we got this a smart internet-connected Blu-ray disc player, instead of just borrowing the one from that my mom never uses when my old player broke, is that we watch Netflix a lot, on-demand Netflix, that is, a lot more than we actually put shiny optical discs into the player. And in that Netflix experience, I would have expected to be pretty much exactly like the YouTube experience. Except it's completely and totally not. Oh sure, the options and the soft keys in the corner, the options return to the back. And you can scroll and stuff, but there's no categories, there's no search. I mean, as far as I can tell, I haven't missed it. There's an options button on the remote, remember, and it brings you nothing of any significance. Which is probably kind of bad. I would love to be able to have a better interface for this, and of course if I was just doing a mobile phone, I would probably give up and use the web browser if I was allowed to. Of course, I can't, because that wouldn't play the actual movies. But in this one, I can't, for example, go find a new movie. Or, let's see, what was the last one I was watching? It's around here somewhere, but I can't search and I can't order it anyway, and it doesn't have a last viewed list. There it is. That's how long it took me to find a movie.